right, guys. This weekend, UFC 299, O'Malley versus Vera 2, the rematch. And underneath that, we have a great card. So yeah, we're gonna give our best bets and a quick little preview for this weekend. But yeah, first let's get to the best bets.
Oh, show me the money, huh? Show me the money.
We took the week off last week, so
Yeah, we did.
No recap on our best bets. It was a good card, but we didn't do any best bets. So we're on a clean slate this week. $2.99. I'm gonna kick it off with my best bet: Jailton Almeida over Curtis Blades. Both of these guys are known for their wrestling, of course, as we all know. However, I think Curtis Blades is much slower. I don't think he's much of a threat. If you look at his last few fights, he's beat Chris Daukaus, Rosenstrike. Daukaus isn't even in the UFC anymore. He's cut. Aspinall was a freak injury. He got lucky there. Then he lost to Sergey. He got knocked out in like the first or second round. Sergey, of course, he's a force to be reckoned with. He's got dynamite in his hands, but he's just not IQ-wise. He's not smart. Like, I was watching this fight with Simon like last year. And if you watch that fight, he did not shoot for a takedown once. And that's his strength. Of course, that's Almeida's strength as well, as you saw against Derek Lewis. So I think this fight will be a long, boring fight. I think it'll go the distance. However, my best bet is going to be Almeida by money line. He's going to win this fight, probably by decision, to be honest. I think he's just too fast. He's too quick. Curtis Blades is not good on the feet. He's not going to take him down because his defense is too good, and Almeida is wrestling defense. So I think he'll go the distance, but Almeida's too quick. He's too strong. He's too athletic, and I think he gets the win.
There we go.
I like it, dude. All right, for my best bet, this one's a little more of a personal choice. I'm a big Gilbert Burns fan, and he's going against Jack Della Maddalena this weekend, and he's an underdog. So I was like, I don't know. I'm debating this pick. I think JDM is a great striker. He has a lot of potential. He hasn't lost since 2016, but he's coming off 2 close wins. I think he obviously won them. They were split decisions. The last one against Holland, but I don't know. He showed some weaknesses. His cardio was okay. His striking is phenomenal, but he's also showed a lot of weaknesses in his grappling, and that's where I think Burns can take advantage in this fight. Burns is one of the best grapplers in the welterweight division, other than Shavkat and Hazmat. He stays in welterweight. But I think Gilbert Burns is one of the better fighters in welterweight, but he's getting a little old. He's 37. This is his last chance for a title shot to make a run. He's coming off that loss to Bilal last year, but he was dealing with a lot of injuries during that fight. So, yeah, it was a loss, but I don't really want to count too much towards him. He did take a long break, but I really do think Burns can take advantage of his grappling in this fight and pretty much just expose JDM's lack of grappling. I think JDM's going to have to get him out in the first round, and I don't think he can. Like, we've seen even Burns can strike too. So not only is he a great grappler, but he's also like a really good striker. I mean, even though he got knocked out by Usman, I mean, he was doing pretty well for the first couple of rounds. He beat Jorge Masvidal, one of the better strikers at an older age, but still, I think he can stay up with them for at least a couple rounds striking, and then use his grappling if he needs to score some points, get the round to decision. So yeah, I'm taking the plus money on Gilbert Burns, basically just because of he's a skilled fighter, and I think his grappling can take advantage in this fight, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with that. I think
like
Maddalena has had. I think I'm lagging a little bit. You hear me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
I was going to say, I think JDM, like, he hasn't fought stiff competition yet. He's fought against guys that are good, but not on Gilbert Burns' level. And I think it's time for him to be put in his place.
I think he might get exposed, man. And like one of his last fights, he was basically getting choked out and ended up knocking the guy out in the same round in Mauve. But I mean, he got taken down so easily in that fight. It was one of the easiest takedowns I've ever seen. And then we got Burns in there. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be a test of fight IQ, I think, for Gilbert Burns, because he needs to exploit the ground. He needs to go to the ground. So it'd be nice to see if he actually takes it there instead of being like, oh, no, I'm going to get caught standing with this guy and just keep dragging it out that way. Like, don't fight him in his world. It's not a good thing to do.
He does play to what his opponents fight. He does like the playing to that.
Yeah. So hopefully he don't do that. But it's like with Khamzat, is like he got caught in this kind of measuring contest standing up. But I think he has more power, though, in a lot of ways than Dylan Madalena. That's the last thing to go when you're an older fighter, and that's going to come in handy, I think. And speaking of JDM, actually, if you go back, I think it's the last fight he had. If I don't think he's fought since, when he had that fight against Kevin Holland, which the way that fight shook out actually leads directly into my best bet for this card and this weekend's card. The last fight was Michael Page. Michael Page is going to be fighting Kevin Holland this weekend, straight out of Bellator. Bellator is now no longer PFL and Bellator together. But watching Holland versus JDM felt like a glorified sparring match. It was just kind of like the distance was there, but it was just far enough where they're getting slightly clipped, but not really, really touched. A little bit of that I expect from Holland in pretty much every fight. He looks like he's not taking it seriously sometimes. He looks like he's in a sparring match. And the thing is, like, we know he's capable of so much more. Like when he knocked out Joaquin Buckley, stuff like that, it's sensational. He can be sensational. But he's fighting Michael Venom Page, who, yes, he's at the tail end of the career, but I have a feeling that Michael Page is going to be able to hypnotize Kevin Holland a little bit with his movement. It's that really snaky in and out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson style. He's a little bit faster than Wonderboy still. He's not quite as diminished. He hasn't fought as many hammers and gotten beaten down as many times. So I have a feeling here that Michael Page is going to come in here, kind of stun him here and there with a couple of good shots. For the most part, Page doesn't overextend and get himself finished. It's only that fight against Douglas Lima in Bellator where he got KO'd like that. But other than that, he's done pretty well, even against wrestlers. So, I mean, we'll see. You know, I could be surprised here, but I have a feeling that Holland's not going to be able to track him down and finish him with anything super meaningful. And how cool would it be to see a possible, you know, UK versus UK welterweight title fight between Michael Venom Page and Leon Edwards? That'd be exciting. The two of those guys, both lengthy, rangy strikers, like that would be possibly exciting, or could be a massive snooze fest. Super, super technical. But those were. Oh, go ahead.
I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
No, I was finished. Go ahead.
Okay. My thoughts on, like, I want to see what you think as well. Like this fight, do you think MVP is going to bring the fight to Holland? Or are they going to just stare at each other for 15 minutes?
They're going to,
because they're both sharp, but they're both dangerous, but they don't overextend themselves. Like you said, they're very cautious.
It's going to be that. It's going to be a staring match. I think with a couple of moments where somebody gets maybe like a bad leg kick or maybe gets stunned with a jab. But I don't think you're going to see somebody getting totally flatlined unless Michael Page comes in here with just looking to just slang and bang. Like he might be at that point in his career that Jorge was a couple of years ago, where he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm a flying knee Askren. I'm going to knock out Darren Till. Like, it'd be nice to see him have that last like rush of wins. But those were the three fights that we felt super confident about. Normally we don't do this, but we do a quick roundup of some other fights on the main card, especially this weekend. Just a couple quick thoughts. These are ones that we don't feel so confident in that we would put money on it necessarily, but we definitely still have some ideas about them. So we're going to start at the very bottom of the card with a returning Petr Yan looking to pick up the wreckage of his career. He's had some bad losses, starting with that decision against Sugar Sean, which might have been a little questionable. But he's coming back to face Song Yadong. He's looking to rebound here against a super strong, super consistent Song Yadong. Man, I could see Petr Yan coming back and actually winning this fight. I don't know if he's necessarily going to finish him by any means, but I think he's patient enough, tight enough in the chamber as a striker, and has good enough wrestling to survive the best of Yadong. So I think a surging Petr Yan comes back and kind of rights the ship a little bit in this fight. What do we think?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think he's lost part of his last 5 fights. Of course, to Aljo, Marab, Sugar, Sugar, Sean. But no, I think he does right the ship. I think Song he's dangerous though, man. That's the thing. Like, he's such a talented, skilled fighter, especially on the feet, but he just doesn't get the credit he deserves. He hasn't had that big win yet. He beat Chris Gutierrez in his last fight. I just don't think he's had that moment where he's like unleashed himself. and made a name for himself. So I mean, both guys, like, they have something to win. You know, Peter Yan get back on track, Song Yadong make a name for himself. So there's like two guys on different ends of the spectrum, but it's a huge fight as far as like where their career goes after this.
I agree, dude. Yan has such a tough schedule the past few years, so I think he really needs this fight to get back into it. I think this is a comeback fight for him. So I got Yan in this fight, but it's close, man. I mean, Yan's obviously favored, but I feel like this really is a toss-up in my opinion. If this could be a new Yan, a new improved Yan. I think he got a new fight camp, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, he's been a little too patient in the past, I think, at times. He's been a little too patient in the beginning of fights, and he lets the fights get ahead of him. Like Jose Aldo was actually doing really well against Petr Yan before he got starched. He was doing really, really well, like almost better than he should have been at that age. Because it was almost felt like Petr was kind of letting him back in the fight a little bit. Speaking of older fighters that might be primed to break our heart. So I was looking at the line this morning and watching. It's an interesting metric if you look at how the line moves from when the fights are announced to when they're about to happen. And if you watch the line move on Dustin Poirier, it's not looking good, man. The plus money is going plus by the second, which is a little bit short-sighted because we in this sport, we definitely have the tendency the newest, shiniest toy is the best toy. It's just too dangerous. This fight's too dangerous because I know that if I put my ass on the line and I go for Benoit Saint-Denis, then I know as soon as I say that, Dustin Poirier will come back and prove me wrong. That's what he always does. He's such a dog, man. He always comes back and proves me wrong. And so it's hard for me to pick against Dustin here. I think I'm going to pick against him, though. And I think I got Benoit Saint-Denis. I think this might be the one where maybe it's too sharp of a hill to climb. Also, I do worry Dustin Poirier tends to be his best when he's super active. He's not been so active lately. It's been kind of like a couple super fights with Connor, come back. So I don't know. How are we feeling on this one?
Go ahead, Sam. You can go next.
No, you're good. You're good. I was gonna say, doesn't this kind of remind you guys, other than the activity part of Topuria versus Volkanovski, like a European guy that's super. Dude, his striking's like incredible. He's had like all these knockouts. Has all the momentum coming into the fight against a guy who's older, well respected. Obviously not a championship fight, but I see a lot of similarities in that. I even see people posting online about the age of these fighters and how this is maybe their last fight. And the only thing that worries me the most, you know, I'm not the biggest Dustin Poirier fan. I think he's a good guy outside the ring, but when he's in the ring, he's kind of childish when he does certain things. Like when he was talking crap to Chandler. You know, that was one of the more recent things. But I saw him talking to Ariel in the MMA hour. He said he's like nervous for this fight. He basically was mentioning how, you know, it's kind of weird for a fighter, even Poirier, to say like you're kind of nervous for a fight. And that worries me a lot when he says that. And he's also not denying that he will like retire after this fight. He's been mentioning that, you know, every fight could be his last fight. And you know, when you got a fighter like Dustin Poirier, who's, you know, he's a pretty confident dude. I would never expect him to say really anything like that. So maybe that's just a front he's putting on. Maybe he's really confident behind the scenes. I don't believe that, but who knows?
Yeah, I think for this fight, so his last fight was the Justin Gaethje. Of course, the head kick KO. Justin Gaethje's a brawler. So is BSD. BSD is the same kind of style. He's dangerous. He's got heavy hands. He's on the feet is where he wants to be at. Of course, his wrestling grappling is probably pretty good. So maybe Dustin Poirier takes that route. However, I don't think he gets it there. I think he's one of those guys who wants to be in a dogfight, like the Dan Hooker fight, just a straight war. I think he's just going to have that pride in the octagon and not take it to the ground. So I think if he does that, it's not going to end well for him. So I think Benoit Saint-Denis gets the win here. Also, if the guy trains, like, you see the neck exercises he was doing and the chain around his head, like training his neck muscles. Apparently that's good for like getting knocked out. So if Dustin cracks him a few times, he's going to stay in there. He's going to have the blood still be going to his brain. So I don't know, man. I think Benoit Saint-Denis wins this fight. I think he wins by knockout, to be honest. Of course, this is not our best bets. But I think that would be a good route to victory, I would say, for BSD by knockout.
We are free
and it could be early. It could be first or second round like it has been in his past few fights.
Yeah. I mean, Frivola was no joke. You know what I mean? He's no joke at all. and he got starched with that head kick on the way out. Is that I think it's the last time he fought. And
that was the last time.
Yeah. I mean, eerily reminiscent of that sneaky head kick, like you said, Brad, with Gaethje. So there's something there, I feel like. Final fight of the night. This one is, man, is this contentious. We've got Chito Vera versus Sugar Sean in a little rematch here. The first time around, Sean was doing really well. He was kind of tuning his leg up, and then all of a sudden he got leg kicked and pulled back a little bit, caught him on the nerve. He started rolling his ankle every starting walking, and then Chito finished him on the ground with elbows. I mean, listen, I know you got injured, but Chito still won. He did win the fight. I mean, that's, if you got injured by a technique that the other fighter threw, then that means that's part of the whole game. Like, and that's okay. Like when Anderson broke his leg, he lost to Chris Weidman. That's how it goes. So it was a legitimate win. What makes me worried about Chito, and the thing is, I love Chito, I'm a little worried after the fight that he had against Corey Sandhagen. That being said, Corey Sandhagen is probably like top 1-2 fight IQs in the game. He's really, really, really freaking smart. And he knows how to like use his strengths and minimize his weaknesses. He's really good at that. He's getting better. So Chito has this kind of tendency to like lay back and let you tee off for like 4.5 rounds. And then all of a sudden he head kicks you and knocks you out. He did it to Dominic Cruz. He did it to Frankie Edgar. But those are diminished guys, like a little bit older guys. I'm not so sure he can afford to hang around in the pocket with Sean and just be like, go ahead and tee off. And you're going to get tired. And then, you know, I'm going to Homer Simpson you and just walk you down and eventually finish you. So on this one, I am, by the way, begrudgingly riding with Sugar. Begrudgingly. I don't want to, but Chito made me. I'm sorry, Chito. Am I crazy?
Nah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I think the Corey Sandhagen fight is a good example of what could happen in this one. I think Sean O'Malley can definitely use his striking to his advantage, keep Chito away from him, keep him from doing anything that Chito wants to do. So I don't know. I'm riding with Sugar on this one as much as I'm not really a Sugar fan, but I think this is a pretty easy win for Sugar in my opinion.
I think Sugar wins this fight. I think this is his one and only tower defense. This is Merab's division, and he's going to take over after Sugar gets this win this weekend. So hopefully he enjoys this one tower defense because Merab's about to take over this belt, this weight class, and he's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
I hope so. I'm a Sugar hater, but I don't know about y'all.
I'm a hater, but I'm also a realist, and Merab's the man. We're not talking about Merab. Merab's a different breed.
I was actually
even Sugar said that he's basically admitted that there's other guys in the division that are way better than Chito. It's like, oh, this is just unfinished business from the last fight. So I do respect Sugar saying that, but he agrees with us.
Like he acknowledges that Merab is in the shadows. Like you can't not see him. Like come on,
yeah.
Man.
And Umar,
that's the thing. Oh yeah, which he got rocked a little bit over the weekend, but he looked really good afterwards.
Yeah.
He's got that style. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, overall. Great card, exciting. There's a lot of stuff on here that's going to probably blow the doors down. Probably some surprises coming in here. It's very evenly matched. It was tough to pick because the line is really close. Like for instance, on Brad's picks, both these guys are minus money right now. They don't know where to put these people. So it's exciting. Simon, any stuff we want to give to the fans before we're out of here?
No, I mean, just make sure to check out the Instagram, check out the Twitter at Spar Scene. We are posting clips, posting news updates, anything you can think of. You just follow us, check it out. That's all I really got for us. I think you guys got anything else? All right, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.